Donald Trump faces 4 different criminal cases, each with a stunning and unprecedented number of criminal charges, and at least 3 of those cases will now go to trial within the next year. But the ex-president's legal liability doesn't end there. A civil lawsuit brought by a group of Democratic lawmakers led by the California Congresswoman Barbara Lee alleges that the ex-president and his allies incited the violent riot at the Capitol on January 6th and is seeking damages. Joining us now is the Democratic Congresswoman Barbara Lee of California, the lead plaintiff in the NAACP lawsuit against Donald Trump over the conspiracy to defraud the government. Congresswoman, good to see you. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Nice being with you.
Let's talk about this suit. You filed this before a lot of this action was in play, and obviously we've had a very, very busy few weeks with indictments and the scheduling of trials. Tell me where your case in your world fits into this this whole, tree of cases that Donald Trump is facing in the next year.
Sure. We filed this lawsuit actually before the January 6th committee was constituted. And basically, we lay out in our lawsuit that the assault on the Capitol on January 6th was an assault on the democratic process and threatened the peaceful transfer of power. This was an attempted coup. And this was the deadliest attack on the United States Capitol since the War of 1812. The NAACP, first of all, has led this lawsuit. I'm the lead plaintiff. We have about 10 members of Congress, and there are 3 things that we are seeking. One is accountability for those whom we allege were principal architects of this assault on the Capitol and on our democratic process. And also we seek monetary relief to redress the harm that each of us suffered and to punish those who were the principal architects of the attack and to deter others from engaging in the conduct in the future. And of course, we're seeking injunctive relief to prevent this from happening again in the future. Now, the district court was supportive in terms of our position, in terms of indicating that, and the judge said this very clearly, that Donald Trump is not immune. And so now we're in the Court of Appeals in Washington, D.C., waiting on a decision because, of course, Donald Trump and the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers who we filed this lawsuit against, they did appeal the decision of the lower court.
In your opinion, does the success of your lawsuit benefit from or rely on any of the other things that are going on? Is there anything in any of these other cases that will help you in moving your case forward?
No, Ali, this is a civil suit. This is a suit based on the fact that members of Congress were thwarted from exercising their responsibility. And the assault was a violent assault that really went at the core of the peaceful transfer of power. So this has nothing to do with the criminal lawsuits that are moving forward. But our suit is, of course, a civil lawsuit based on the complaints and the issues that I just laid out.
I want to quote from the lawsuit. The plaintiffs bring this action against the defendants for conspiring to prevent them and other members of Congress from discharging these official duties in violation of 42 U.S. Code Section 19851, enacted as the Ku Klux Klan Act in 1871. Section 1985-1 was intended to protect against conspiracies that by force, intimidation, or threat sought to prevent members of Congress from discharging their official duties, end quote. That's from your actual case that you've put forward. This sounds like some of the things that the January 6th committee was talking about. It sounds like the things that Jack Smith talks about in the January 6th report. It sounds like the stuff that Fani Willis talks about, right? That there was an actual orchestrated effort to stop a government function and deprive members of Congress and, by extension, the American people of their rights.
Sure. And also, this complaint is based on the Ku Klux Klan Act of 1871, which in essence was during Reconstruction. And then it was really to prevent intimidation and the use of violence to prevent acts of violence against Black people especially, to thwart voting rights, to thwart attacks with regard to the constitutional rights of African Americans. So this was a direct attack then on the African American community's right to participate in our democracy. And here we are now in 2023 with many of the same issues that we addressed, that they addressed way back in 1871.
What is your sense? Interesting that you told us about this connection to the Ku Klux Klan and Reconstruction. What's your sense of the elements of these white nationalist and racist groups that have actually faced some consequences already? Because you're talking about targeting the architects of all that. Do you consider them part of the architecture of January 6th or part of the mob?
Well, they're working together, all of them, the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys, Donald Trump. And so this is a lawsuit against Donald Trump, the Proud Boys, and the Oath Keepers. They were conspiring, and they assaulted the Capitol, and they nearly, almost, threatened the peaceful transfer of power. So they did this together, and that's why the lawsuit and the complaints are against all three of them.